not necessarily like building for the future. They're like, this is my time. And they're a little bit more composed under pressure. They have been there before. They've seen that. Have you seen that same thing?
Yes,
Andy?
sir. Yeah.
So hopefully Snow Canyon can take advantage of that and utilize some of that senior experience to their advantage. The game's about to begin. The jump ball is Gines tips it forward in an attempt to get a quick layup for her teammate, but Whitehead sprints to the ball and recovers it, and Snow Canyon moves into the half court on their offense. Whitehead's directing traffic, crosses over, pushes the ball over to Staley on the wing. Staley over to Olsen at the top of the key. Olsen to Mooring. Mooring attacks, draws contact, no call, but she goes up and in.
I like that Tyler's looking to be aggressive early in this game. We've talked about it before. We think that Tyler needs to be one of their, leading scorers, getting a bulk of the shots. Good to see her getting off to a good start.
I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out. It looks like the Warriors ran an offensive set right there. And I know that Coach Roden has in the past scripted plays at the beginning of games or the beginning of quarters. And I wouldn't be surprised if he told the team, I want to run this play for Tyler to start the game. Because it looked like that was by design. Everybody was moving, ball moving. When Tyler got it, she went straight to the basket, straight through contact, up and in. Crimson moves the ball offensively and puts up a shot that bounces off of Natalie Olsen out of bounds. And so they will inbound from the corner. And Snow Canyon leads 2-0 early in the game, a minute in. Whitehead defending at the top of the key now to Staley. Lob into Gines at the high post. She's triple teamed and it's a turnover. Livy Cundy with the steal. And now Whitehead bringing the ball across half court as Coach Roden gives directions on the offensive set to run.
Yeah, when you set up at the high post like that, you got to be careful because there's a lot of hands reaching in on those entry passes.
It's another attack from Tyler Mooring. She goes right at Ryan Gines. I'm wondering if that's a strategy as well to try to, when somebody is as athletic as Ryan is, and sometimes you want to solve everything with your athleticism. Maybe they've seen on film she has a tendency to try to block shots or things like that, and that can be some foul calls can happen at that point.
Right there.
Good cut. Tyler lost her, and in her attempt to sprint back to recover, she ends up running into her, so Gines will shoot two. That's the wrong direction of drawing fouls that we're looking for right now.
That's right. Tyler's got to be careful guarding their best player. She can't afford to get into foul trouble. Going to have to be just a little bit more disciplined there on defense, not get lost on those back screens.
First free throw's up and in for Gines. Steps to the line for her second. It's off, and Olsen corrals the rebound. Corrals because we're with the Mustangs, get it?
There you go.
There we go. Whitehead across half court.
The puns are flying early.
Cundy sets a screen for Whitehead, and Olsen cuts to the middle. The ball swung over to Staley. Staley drops back to Whitehead. She bobbles it, resets. She's looking to attack, loses the ball, and Crimson has it. And they are now looking to advance across half court. That's something that has plagued the Warriors at times is unforced turnovers in the half court set. So that'll be something to see if we can. It seems like there's a delicate balance. You don't want to be timid. You don't want to. You can protect the ball by doing nothing, but at the same time, you don't score that way. And so they're looking to be aggressive, but still protect the ball.
Yeah, and it looks early on like Coach Roden's plan is to get some dribble attacks and see if they can't maybe get into the paint a little bit more.
Shot attempt from Natalie Olsen. She did have an open look. Right as you were saying that it was a look to attack, and I think she just apologized to her team right there for that shot as well. So I think that is by design that it's get to the paint, attack, attack, attack. I'm going to give a shout out to Kenna Staley right there for hustling in and causing the jump ball. There is a miscommunication on the jump.
Yeah, and I think the scoreboard does have it wrong. Snow Canyon got the initial tip.
They did.
And I haven't seen a jump yet, so it should be the Mustang ball.
You know, it's story time now with Coach Rarick. There is a time when I had an official that recognized the score table had it wrong. They told me that they had it wrong, but they told me they already made the call, so they just had to leave it. So I had to watch the team get two possessions in a row. It never made sense to me. These officials get it right. They do switch it back to Crimson, and Snow Canyon's entering a full court press. Looks like it's straight man-to-man trying to speed up Crimson Cliffs. That's something you do with a younger team as well, try to speed them up and create turnovers. They do find Giants cutting down the middle, and she puts the ball in. Whitehead attacks right past her defender, and she beats the help and draws the foul. So she'll go to the line for 2.
I noticed on that press the Warriors did, they're pressing over there on the side. The gal for Crimson who's beating that press, dribbling on the left side of the floor with her right hand.
Yeah.
I think if the Warriors can kind of figure out, some of this strong, weak hand stuff, they might be able to cause some turnovers in that front court, that pressure. Good rebound by Tyler.
Yeah, makes the first, misses the second, but Mooring with the rebound, and Staley takes a corner 3, and it's a little long, so Crimson back across half court. Little give and go, the ball's deflected by Taylin Whitehead, and she recovers it on the block. Looked like we had numbers, but not anymore. Whitehead waiting for a ball screen from Olsen. Olsen gets the ball back from Whitehead. 3-point attempt again, and she hits it. Doubling the point total and the lead for, well, not doubling the lead, but increasing the lead to 3. Crimson speeds up, does put up a little bit of a chaotic shot. This is another issue that we've mentioned with the Warriors. Offensive rebounds, that was about as good as what you could expect if you're Coach Roden. You force the action, Crimson comes down and puts up a little bit of a helter-skelter shot, but the biggest part of defense, or maybe not the biggest, but the final part of defense, as Mooring takes a 3 and is off, is securing the rebound. And so that's going to be another thing for the Warriors to pay attention to.
I like the action that the Warriors are getting in their offensive sets right now. The shots that they've taken have all been good, wide open.
They've started in, and you can see Crimson has changed their defense. They are packing it in the paint to stop the penetration. So now the 3-point attempts make sense. It's going to be an offensive foul on Ryan Gines. There was also, I noticed during Whitehead's free throws, Coach Roden did give instructions for Mooring and Olsen to switch defensively. So now Olsen is guarding Gines in order to avoid that second foul on Mooring.
It might be a good opportunity for Coach Roden to use some of the younger bigs that he has, since Crimson is so young, try to protect his best players out there from getting into foul trouble.
Dribble handoff to Olsen. She pulls up, long 2-point attempt, was open off the front of the rim. Leah Lau checked into the game for the Warriors on that last dead ball. Mooring defending out on the perimeter, dead ball. Now the ball swung over to Gines, guarded by Olsen. She has the basket on her mind when she gets it. I kind of like players like that. I like it when players want to figure out how they can get to the basket. Whitehead with an attack and a kick out to Mooring. Leah Lau with the rebound.
Nice rebound.
Up and over and off. Good rebound.
Good rebound. Shot was a little bit forced.
I
Maybe
think she was
kick that
expecting.
bat out, set it back up.
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, if we could see the film, she had a dump pass down. Her teammate, who had also crashed around, I think it was Kenna Staley, was under the basket, but it was behind Ebony. And I think Ebony was also expecting, when she created some contact, to go up and get fouled maybe. But I think we need to give a shout out to some sponsors while we're at a break right now.
Yeah, we couldn't be doing this broadcast without the help of some great sponsors. Southwest Skin and Cancer, Total Triage, Ent's Dentistry, Bucks Ace Hardware, and Tonnequin Data Center. Some of our great sponsors here, Snow Canyon High School and Warrior Nation TV.
Hey, we don't give them enough credit. Sponsors don't have to sponsor sports, but we really couldn't do this without them. It's awesome to be in a community that gets so much support, and that's throughout the entire Washington County area. We can see billboards in here in this gym and sponsors as well. So thank you to all of you who support
and with all this COVID stuff that's been going on, this live stream has been a great blessing for some people, not just here in St. George who can't come, but for family members who live out of state. I know at the last boys game we had close to 350 people online watching the stream. So shout out to Tonnequin Data Center, Matt Hamlin, for getting all this stuff going for Snow Canyon Athletics.
Olsen attacks. Oh, just misses. Good attack. There's a loose ball. Mooring almost gets it. We have had, you mentioned some younger players getting some action, and we've seen that right now. Natalie's twin sister, Jocelyn, has entered the game. She's number 25. And Annie Dunkley has entered the game as well. And Snow Canyon has switched from their man-to-man to their 1-2-2 zone, trying to deny the entry, and that looks like that may have been number 2. We'll see who they give it on. I think it might be Tyler. It was, and that's an and 1. So
and that's Tyler's second.
Tyler's going to take a seat, and we have another young player for the Warriors entering the game. That is number 34 is Fet
Tapasa.
Fet Tapasa. Okay, Fet is easier than what I was trying to pronounce. The shot's in. Crimson leads by 2 minutes to go. Dunkley hands off to Olsen. Olsen looks at the shot and then thinks better of it. Does a little hesitation dribble and attack. I like the attack out of Natalie. These are good shots. I can sense she's getting a little bit frustrated because they're not falling. But if she just keeps that aggressive intensity up, the shots will fall and they'll pay off.
Yeah, the Warriors are getting to the basket and getting great shots just about any time they want. But again, we're giving them 2-3 shots every time they're coming down right now. And with a girl as tall as Ryan Gines in there, you know.
And with her leaping ability, that's a
yeah,
double-edged sword.
because she is a volleyball girl.
Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. One of the things that is tough, this 1-2-2 zone, I know sometimes it's called monster, the person at the top of the zone. It's her responsibility when the ball goes to the wing to dive down in front of the low post and deny that entry pass. And also the backside post needs to scoot over as well. And right now we're getting a little bit of a late rotation on that.
Right.
And that's causing 2 problems. 1, it's allowing the entry pass. And then 2, because it's a late rotation, when the shot goes up, we're not boxing out because you then have to go back to the opposite side of the floor to box out. And it's just not happening for the Warriors right now, so that's something they'll look at. Yeah. Lealau picks up a loose ball and puts up a 3-point attempt. It's off the front of the rim. Crimson Cliffs with the rebound, and they are coming back into their half-court offense. Gines with the ball in the wing. She attacks. And Olsen is going to be called for a foul as she attempts to block the shot.
Yeah, I think that you can tell after that timeout the Mustangs took that they told their kids, we need to start getting the ball inside. Like you said, they're starting to look to throw some of those lobs in on that zone, and Giants right there, a little aggressive going to the basket.
One of the things I noticed right there, too, is there was a little bit of a scrum under the basket, underneath the Snow Canyon basket, and Ebony Lealau was fighting for the ball. And a lot of the Snow Canyon players are kind of paused at half court wondering if they needed to run back on defense or come back and play offense. And when they saw Ebony dribble it out, they came back on offense, and she took a shot that ended up in a long rebound for Crimson Cliffs. And so now the Snow Canyon players are moving in the wrong direction as Crimson is attacking. And that's what ended up happening with Gines getting the ball in the wing, and nobody was there in front of her until she got to the basket.
Warriors get a good box out right there. Gines picks up her second foul coming over the back. That could be a big deal going forward right here with 1:23 remaining in the first quarter.
And it's a game of almost right now for the Warriors. Whitehead picks the ball up and dumps it down to Olsen. Olsen to her sister, out to Lealau. Lealau for a corner 3. That one's good. She hits that one.
And Coach, you can see the difference, that 3 to some of the others that Lealau took. That one went inside, popped out. She's set and ready to shoot.
Her feet were set, and she was wide open. Yep. And she's got a good-looking shot when she is set and ready to shoot.
She absolutely does.
Talking about somebody with a nose for the basket, she has that as well. And that's something that I think Snow Canyon will, and I think you can see it in this game, just even from the beginning, where shots aren't falling right now, but the sheer volume of players that are attacking the basket and looking to score is an improvement over the prior games, and something that the Warriors will look to continue working on throughout the rest of the season. Yeah,
to me it looks like, at least in this first quarter, that the shot selection for the Warriors has been much better than we've seen in the last couple games we've done.
And the challenge for them is going to be to maintain that steadiness. You know, basketball is a game of runs, and if a team goes up 5 or 6 points, sometimes players want to make that all up in one play, and so they come down and it's, a hero shot, and that ends up leading to, a leak out fast break for the opponent, and now it's a 7-point lead, and now you have even more amount of urgency. But yeah, one of the things though, I love always be a threat. That was something my coach taught me. It's like you can't have the defense think that you don't matter. And so having all these girls being willing to attack has been an improvement in play for the Warriors. They speed them up. Great press right there. That's another example of great basketball where it's not necessarily the goal of the press to create a turnover. Oh my, I couldn't speak right there, but I had a stroke, it sounded like. It's not the goal of a press to create the turnover itself, but to speed up the other team. And Crimson's trying to break the press by sprinting down and shoot these layups.
Yep. Good
movement from the Warriors right there. Mooring shuffled her feet a little bit as she looked to attack.
And Tyler's in there with 2 fouls. Coach Roden kind of rolling the dice a little bit with one of his better players right here.
He is, but also at the same time, Kundi, what do you think about that? I mean, the team's 0-6 in region, and it's like at some point you got to go with, you got to put your horses out there, right? Like, who are my best players? I got to play them, and we got to win. And if she fouls out, it's no different than if she's sitting on the bench, right?
Yeah. Tyler just got to be smart.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Not try to do too many extra things here. Move those feet defensively.
For sure. I used to have players that would get into early foul trouble that were key players for me, and I used to sub them out, and that almost became a safety net for them. They knew that they didn't have to be that careful because I was going to be the careful one for them, and I eventually had to learn that you're going to have to learn how to play through this, and this might cost us moments in games, but you need to learn this in the long run. So Whitehead with a good attack.
There you go. The Warriors are, again, good offense right here. They're clearing that side out, trying to get some of that penetration off of those dribble handoffs up top.
I'm going to give Taylin a shout-out right here. This is something we've talked about a lot, that she's kind of in the past has been a one-speed player right there. She's using some hesitation dribble and then setting up her explosiveness. And right there, when she exploded to the basket, what a lot of players might want to do is extend the ball out in front of them to shoot. And she saw this post coming over, and Taylin kind of rotated her body to protect the ball with her body, and the defender hit her first, and then Taylin put up the shot, basically guaranteeing the free throw. Good hustle by Natalie Olsen on the missed second free throw.
Again, right there's an example of what the press can do. It just speeds them up a little bit. Too heavy of a pass, turnover for the Mustangs.
6 seconds remaining in the quarter, and the Warriors are down, or it's even. The Warriors are going to have an attempt at this shot. From half court, Whitehead heaves it. Oh, almost goes right to Kundi. Put back dunk in attempt, maybe.
That's right. If that knee injury wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
We had her on a trajectory.
Yeah. Hey, so a little bit of a back and forth quarter. Snow Canyon starts out with a lot of great opportunities, didn't get as many points from those opportunities as they were hoping for, and then it looked like we saw a little bit of a lag like what we've seen in the previous games, and Crimson pulls ahead by 4. Snow Canyon does a good job to settle themselves, regain composure, tie game at the end of 1.
Yeah, so we talked about this with the foul trouble stuff. What do you think the Crimson coaches are thinking with Giants on the bench with 2?
So it looks like I'm just looking at them during this between quarter break right now, and Gines is not sitting on the chair, so she is out. I'm wondering if they're kind of going the other way with what we talked about with Coach Roden. Is they're thinking if we can just keep pace with her out of the game, if we can get her back into the third quarter, if we're still close in the third quarter and then we get the best player out there, we're going to be able to handle it.
My guess with her, averaging close to 15 points a game. I didn't see what their average was on the season. I'm imagining around the 40s.
40, yeah.
So she's their high-volume scorer. They might think that, like you said, if they can keep this close, she can bring that volume in later on.
This is, though, also an opportunity for the players on Crimson for somebody else to kind of assume a role that they might not normally have, and that's something that helps young teams. When you have multifaceted players. It's like, hey, she's our primary scorer, but when she's not in, you're our primary scorer. Lainey Levitt seeing some action at the beginning of the quarter. For the Warriors, good ball movement from Crimson Cliffs. They make a short jumper from just inside the free throw line. Whitehead advances across. She attacks left. Meant to jump stop. Yeah. She had a lane to go in left-handed. I actually even thought that I saw her mindset right there. Jump stop, if she would have pivoted back into the middle, she also would have been able to, they call those, everybody probably calls them finishing moves. You set it up and then you spin back to the lane. Spin and win is what we used to call that. There we go, another effective press from Snow Canyon. Obviously, on a press, if you do like the turnovers, the live ball turnovers, because those often turn into fast break opportunities
Correct.
and things like that. But to be honest, with Snow Canyon's focus on, controlling the ball and reducing turnovers, it may not be the worst thing in the world for them to have these dead ball turnovers and be able to gather themselves.
Right.
Good attack from Natalie Olsen right here. The ball bounced off of her foot, off of the pass. She went out and grabbed it. This is why they said explain sports to me. I don't know. If you're a Crimson Cliffs defender, you're like, we did everything right. We deflected the ball. We forced her out of the corner. And then all of a sudden she's turning the corner and getting fouled on a layup attempt.
Yeah, I wonder if defensively, strategically here, the Mustangs are staying pretty close to the shooters of Snow Canyon, which is our strength. But that's opening up a lot of driving lanes for us right now inside the paint. It's a good offensive rebound.
Lainey Levitt jumps in there with the rebound, and she goes up and is fouled. And this is something, a lot of fans, a lot of people, anybody watching the game, we tend to track the ball. One thing that officials are trained to do is watch different aspects of the game. And so right there, you look at that shot, and it looked like it was a clean block. Well, it was. The foul was actually on the girl that bumped her below with the body. So that was a good rebound, and that's also a good illustration of why it's important when you get the ball into the basket to go back up quickly with the ball. Levitt makes her second. Snow Canyon's got a pattern of going 1 for 2 from the free throw line, so the game is tied at 12 apiece. And with the next foul that Snow Canyon draws, they will shoot 1-and-1 free throws, so that's good news for the Warriors. Crimson handles the press this time, moves the ball into their half-court offense. Long three-point attempt. Made by Whitley Stuckey.
Yeah, that's their first 3 of the night. It was a nice-looking shot by Stuckey.
That was a good attack by Whitehead right there. The shot hits the front of the rim, though, and does not go in. But a good attack to the middle of the paint. Another three-point attempt. Olsen got herself caught under the basket, and the ball bounces over her head, so Crimson stays on offense. Traveling violation called on the Crimson Cliffs as the player got stuck in the air as she was trying to make the pass. Couple of subs for the Warriors. We're seeing Mooring again and Lealau in for Cundy and Levitt.
Warriors going small. Not that they have anybody really big they can go to, but spreading this out with a little 5-out offense.
Same thing with Crimson. Crimson looks like most of their players are guard forward types, no true centers out there. Lealau with a good attack. She sets up the behind the back dribble. That's one of the things I think Coach Meacham teaches this, a lot of basketball coaches teach this, but whenever a player opens their hips, you can attack the hip right there, and Lealau, a couple of right-handed dribbles. She goes behind the back. The defender had pivoted to cut off the right hand. Lealau attacks the hip and forces a block. And that's what we just talked about. We're in the 1-and-1.
Right.
And so Lealau gets a free throw attempt right here.
And I don't know the exact percentage for her, but in the games we've watched, she is a pretty darn good free throw shooter.
She is.
I would imagine she's got to be 80s.
One of the best, the best on the team, I imagine. So if we can keep getting fouls like that on the perimeter and get point opportunities out of that, that's a great strategy for the Warriors. Warriors are back into that 1-2-2 half-court zone. Crimson is countering with a 3-out, 2-in zone offense.
Good rebound by Tyler, got tied up by the Mustangs there.
And that's when, as much as of a hard time as not necessarily a hard time, we're just calling what we see. But as much as we talk about the lack of offensive rebound, one of the hardest offensive or defensive rebounds to get is on an air ball.
Air ball,
and
yes.
So that ball actually almost landed in the Crimson Cliff girl's arms, and Tyler ripped it out, and it ended up being a jump ball. Almost a turnover. It is going to be a turnover for the Warriors, but I'm going to give credit to Natalie Olsen right there. She basically saved a layup by sprinting down and knocking the ball out of bounds. Oh, that last foul, too, was the third on number 4 for Crimson Cliffs, which is Skylar Sherritt. She was one of the starters.
Yeah. Good little block right there.
Lealau with the rebound.
There you go.
And
pick that thing up with 2 hands.
And I always taught not to pass the ball across the lane underneath your own basket. If it gets stolen, it's a layup. Whitehead with an attack, and she will get to the free throw line. One of the most difficult. Oh, we've got a Crimson Cliffs player down. The trainer is out to see her. So hopefully she's all right. One of the most difficult plays in the game to officiate and is the block charge, because no matter what you call, you have half of the crowd or half of the team thinking that it's the other way. Looks like, is that number 15?
It's Haley Tebbs, the one who tried to take the charge on Whitehead, who's down right now.
I obviously saw the collision, but often it's not the initial collision that causes issues like this. It's hitting the ground.
Yeah.
And it does appear that they are checking her head and neck area to make sure that she is okay. So while we're, okay, they're going to lift her up right now. So that's a good sign that she's getting up. She does look like she's in some pain right now, though. This is actually something, Kundi, that we see a lot in high school sports. It's part of the game is that, people have injuries and things like that. And I was actually noticing earlier, I was going to comment on it before, but if you look at the benches for these two teams, we've got, a couple of players I know. I'm going to give an ovation to this Crimson Cliffs.
Yeah, Haley Tebbs right there. The way she's walking off the floor looks like it might be a concussion or something in that head neck area.
So we wish her the best on the
Absolutely.
recovery, but I can see on the Snow Canyon bench, Cindy Mata and Kaisa Andrews are in street clothes, so I imagine those are from injuries. And on the Crimson Cliff side, there's a player in a boot, a player in a knee brace, and another player in street clothes, so you can see the injury bugs going around a little bit.
That tends to happen in Region 9 when the competition is, so fierce and physical.
Well, and it's just, especially, there's other sports like, football is obviously a contact sport and things like that. Basketball is a long season.
It's
the
longest,
longest.
I think, yeah.
You play the most amount of games. You basically start open gyms in October, and then if you make it to the state tournament, you're playing through March. So that's a lot. And then obviously you've got your summer stuff and things like that. So it's just basketball. Nice defense by Whitehead. That's going to go back to the Warriors. The ball's deflected. This is something I believe I remember from watching this last year. Without Gines in the game, Crimson relies on younger guards. And without a lot of development, the guard play is an issue, advancing the ball across half court.
Good kick out.
Mooring with the jump shot. It's off. Crimson looks to move into their secondary break. Snow Canyon back into their 1-2-2. Crimson looks like they are spreading the floor with a baseline runner. And then cutting through the high post. Three-point attempt is off the mark, and the ball goes out of bounds to the Warriors. Crimson Cliffs leads by 1, just over halfway through the second quarter. Whitehead moving the ball. It does now look like Crimson is in a version of either a 1-2-2 or a 3-2 zone, looking to defend. That's probably from scouting. The ball entered the high post. Defense collapses on Natalie Olson. From scouting, the 3-2 is typically better at defending the three-point line than the 2-3 is.
Right.
And so the weakness is that high post area because you're spreading it out. One thing that I'd like to see Natalie do is that reverse pivot move we've talked about in the past. Three-point attempt from Olson deflects off of Lealau out of bounds. But right there you could see she caught it and she wanted to go to the basket, which we praised that mindset. But as soon as she caught it and turned, the defense collapsed on her. If she chins that ball, keeps that ball chin high, reverse pivots, she's either going to have a jump shot from inside the free throw line, or when that defense collapses, the girls in the corner cut to the basket and we'll have a wide open layup.
Yep.
Ball is entered to the high post for Crimson. Off the mark, Kundi with a good rebound. Over to Whitehead. Whitehead's going to push the ball down the court, and we're going to run our half-court offense here. Lealau with the ball on the perimeter. She attacks. A block call, charge, or block called against Crimson Cliffs, and Leilao will go to the free throw line. Questionable attack, except for I think she may have been trying to do exactly this, trying to get the foul called.
Maybe. And that's just one of those things, she's still a sophomore. She has got to learn how to take good shots, create good shots. Right there, seemed like she wanted to force the action. Luckily, it went in her favor this time. Hits her third free throw in a row right there.
We've talked about this on prior broadcasts, but especially against a zone, you're never attacking a set defense isn't going to work. The only way to get that defense to have some gaps in it is to move that ball to the third, fourth, fifth side of the floor. And by the time you've done that and the defense has had to rotate, there's eventually going to be somebody who's behind in their rotation. There's going to be an opening to attack. Another attack from Crimson looked about equally as planned as the Snow Canyon attack on that one, and a foul is called on, looks like it was called on Cundy.
Yeah, I thought that was
Whitehead.
Talon, but maybe Talon got the ball, and again, they got Cundy for getting in with the body down there.
I do think he called a block is what he ended up calling, which I was confused because I also thought that it was on Talon. But first foul, 3 minutes into the second quarter, not a serious issue for Cundy. Cundy corrals that rebound as well. And Whitehead pushes the ball across. She attacks, kicks over to Dunkley. Dunkley sets up for a three and drills it. And that puts Snow Canyon ahead. I think for the first time since it was 6-3 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think you're right. We've got about 3 minutes left in the half, and they take a 2-point lead.
Now this is, there's Whitehead's going to steal it. She's going to look to attack. She throws it up to Dunkley. Dunkley wasn't looking for it, and it's turned right back over to Crimson. Now Crimson's on the attack. A little bit of a wild shot right there. As a coach right there, I'm happy to see that we forced Crimson into this wild shot. What I wasn't super happy about is that we jumped to try to block that shot. As a coach, I would invite that shot every time.
Interesting call.
It was Mooring with a good attack.
That's her third foul, unfortunately.
Same attack that earlier in the game had resulted in free throws for the Warriors, and maybe my bias is coming through. It appeared to be a little bit late as well.
Yes.
Like I was wondering if a call was going to be made, because typically when a girl gets hit and falls over, it can't be nothing. Giants checks back into the game. In about the last 30 seconds, we've gone from 10 fouls in total to 16. So the refs are
things getting a little tight inside the paint.
Tightening up to make sure that, and I think it's in an effort for equality too. I know the Crimson coaches have been a little bit frustrated with some of the blocking fouls that have been called on the perimeter for the Warriors, and that has full-on resulted in points for the Warriors since Crimson was in the bonus. And so, sometimes a coach will make an appeal, like, give us those same calls on the other side, and the result is a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
Both free throws are missed for Giants. She did check right back into the game as soon as Mooring left. Ball's reversed to the opposite wing. Dunkley with another three-point attempt. It's off, but Olsen with a good rebound. She's out to the corner for a three-point attempt, and she hits 21-16. One of the things I was going to mention earlier is Crimson was able to survive without Giants in the game. They were only down 2 when she checked back in, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yep. And they kept her out as long as, like you said, they were closer ahead, and as soon as they went down, coach got her up off the bench and put her back in. So
late rotation from Whitehead. That was an issue with the angle that she took. So Cundy closed out on the corner, and she surrendered the baseline penetration, which against this type of 1-2-2 zone I think is what's coached, because the top girl is rotating down to the block, and so you're actually forcing that penetration right into your defender. But Talon was a little late, and instead of cutting off the angle, she went right at the player, and it resulted in a block foul. It wasn't on a shot attempt, so it was a 1-and-1, and it was missed. So Snow Canyon with a 5-point lead and a minute 30 to go Dunkley starts the offense. Staley to Olsen. Olsen loses the ball but gets it out to her sister. Staley to Dunkley. Dunkley looks back into Olsen. Olsen bounced past to Cundy, back to Dunkley for a three-point attempt from the wing. It's long, and it's going out of bounds off of Jocelyn Olsen, so Crimson Cliffs will get the ball. Same thing we talked about, though. Olsen is showing more patience in the middle right there. She's pivoting into the defense, though, so she needs to do a reverse pivot right there to create space and then find the person to pass to.
Yeah, and with Snow Canyon's strength being the three-point shot, I think they need to look more to get the ball inside to suck the defense and then kick it to those kids that are standing in the corner.
And one thing we would always say, a phrase would be look opposite. So when the ball gets entered right here to the high post, it's going to be the opposite person who's open. And also a skip pass from the top right there. It would have been Jocelyn that was open. Staley with the three-point attempt. It's long.
It's much better ball movement that time against the zone.
Dunkley with a good rebound right there. Over to Staley, down to Cundy. Cundy into
pass.
Olsen. Great.
Oh.
She short-armed it. She did get a little bit of contact from behind, but it looked like she didn't fully extend her left arm on that shot attempt.
Against a 1-2-2 zone, I think the Warriors did exactly what needs to be done right there. They got the ball to the corner, or the short corner girl that's on the baseline, and then dove the kid from the high post spot, because who's going to come guard the girl in the corner except the one in the low zone, opening up that layup like Natalie had right there.
That creates that.
Yeah. So maybe instead of going high post, we need to go corner to high post.
A point of concern, Natalie Olsen picked up her second foul on that rebound attempt. I know that she was a little bit frustrated because she felt like the Crimson Cliffs girl had run into her on the rebound. The issue there, and this is something that I would coach over and over to my players, is if there's no box out, there can't be a foul. And since Natalie was standing in place and she reached for a ball, and the Crimson Cliffs girl already had a line to that ball,
right,
it was a foul on Natalie instead of on the Crimson Cliffs girl. But if Natalie finds that girl, boxes her out, and that girl runs into her, now we're getting a foul the other direction.
21 seconds left here in the half. Let's see if the Warriors can pull this out and get a last shot.
Olsen splits the defense, begging for a foul call, not getting it. Crimson Cliffs puts up a little bit of a hectic shot. There's 5 seconds left in the quarter. Natalie Olsen's got it. She's attacking. She's frustrated. The referee is going to ask her to calm down a little bit. The half ends with the Warriors leading 21-17. Cundy, what's your takeaway from that half?
You know what? I thought early on the Warriors were doing a good job getting the shots that they wanted. Things just weren't quite falling for them. I thought towards the end of that second quarter right there, though, they started to get a little bit antsy or anxious, and they started taking some forced shots, some quick shots, and if Coach Roden can, get them back to what they were doing in the first quarter, maybe be a little bit more methodical and patient with what they're doing offensively, I think they might be able to maintain this lead and come away with a win tonight.
Yeah, and I think halftime came at a good time for our key player, Natalie Olsen, leading scorer. She's making a lot of good decisions. The finishing's not happening, and she's becoming a little bit more and more agitated about that. And and I think he'll get her to calm down and be a little bit. We're going to take a break until just before the third quarter. Thanks for tuning in to WarriorNation.tv.
Let me show you how to do it.
There we go.
I let the moms know about the sound, so I need to look at
Howie, gonna do JV and sophomore tomorrow.
How's Coach doing?
You can tell he's got fucking head cold. We've had him on film sessions after school. We Google chat him in, and he runs the film session and talks to him through my speakers. And
That's awesome.
yeah, he's a fun kid.
It would be cool is if you could put him on all the speakers around. So he's like speaking, he's all over the main speakers. Listen, pay attention.
I was gonna get him on like a Zoom or something, and then when the rest come over, I go, "Hey, Doug's right here, Mom, say hi."
That's a terrible ball.
Yeah, if I say anything, I'll say, "Hey, Doug told me to say that. He just texted me. That's a terrible call."
That's right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WarriorNation.tv. We are still in the unnamed arena, but that I'm leaning towards the corral for the Mustangs. This is Ryan Rarick. I'm here with Kenny Cundy. And the Warriors are about ready to enter the third quarter with a 4-point lead. Not something that's happened very frequently in recent games. What are some things you're looking for in the second half, Coach Cundy?
You know, it's going to be interesting. We got the benefit of having the Crimson's best player on the bench for, I would say a majority of that first half. So it'll be interesting to see how we can handle Ryan Gines when she, comes back in this half and how we decide to defend that, especially when the two girls that we've had playing on her both are in a little bit of foul trouble right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is it'll be interesting to see how Tyler Mooring's able to handle playing with 3 fouls right now. And
I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Rarick stays in his zone a little bit.
Coach Roden.
Coach
Yeah.
Roden.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it looks like he is doing just that. And as the
there
ball
you
is inbounded into the half court for Crimson, Snow Canyon comes out, and here is the adjustment. He moved Mooring away from the post, and she is now at the top of the key. So she will still be the defender, but she won't be in those situations, which is a double-edged sword because now she's not down there as a rebounder, and she is one of the better rebounders on the team.
Yeah.
Snow Canyon moves the ball across, a little bit of miscommunication. Mooring with the ball on the wing, moves it up to Whitehead. Whitehead looking for space, swings it over to Olsen. Olsen for 3 from the wing. Cundy fights for the rebound, and the ball's off of her and out of bounds.
It's good effort there by Olivia. She needs to do a little bit better job down here on the defensive end. Big task trying to keep Ryan Gines off of the glass, but
and I call it the magic ball. Every player, when the ball goes up, we all just look at the ball and then follow it to the basket. If it's a missed shot, it's not going to land at the basket. It's going to land away from the basket. So the players need to box out and actually be moving away from the basket in order to get the rebound. But it looks like everybody's moving towards the basket right now.
And I think a difficult thing for high school kids to take their eye off of the shot to actually make some contact and move people out.
Here's a cross sport analysis in volleyball. We talk about the ball nose angles. Once you know what the ball's going to do, you don't need to watch it do it anymore. It's not going to change its mind. It goes where it's angled to go the entire time. Snow Canyon looks like they ran a little set play. Olsen misses the shot, and Crimson back on offense. Snow Canyon remains in their zone. 3-point attempt from Crimson is off the mark. Mooring with the rebound. Outlets to Whitehead. Whitehead's pushing the pace a little bit. She crosses over and uses Cundy as a little bit of an unintentional moving screen, which is often effective when you can run behind one of your players in transition.
Well, she did a good job with that hesitation dribble that you talked about in the first half there, changing that pace. And, that's 2 shots, though, right there where the Warriors are trying to get into the paint, but I think they're going just a little bit quick. If they can get in on the first penetration, they're definitely going to be able to get in on the third penetration.
Well, and it's sometimes the mindset is we talk about having a nose for the basket. You want that, but it's also reading. There's a good steal by Whitehead, and Mooring leaks out. The ball is pushed out to her. She looks to attack, gets to the middle, kicks it to the opposite corner to Staley. Great ball movement right there. 3-pointers are off. Staley had been hitting at a high rate earlier, but having a nose for the basket's important, but also reading and reacting to what the defense does. Sometimes the attack might not create the opportunity to you. If you can force a rotation, you can also create an open opportunity for a teammate.
Yeah, I think that right there is that magic ball you were talking about. We're just kind of staring at that thing while it's shooting and getting, pushed under that basket. Quick inbound play right there by the Mustangs, 2 at the paint.
So that ties things up. I know we could hear Coach Roden echoing throughout the gym, pleading for his team to rebound. There's a good little cut by Mooring and a good pass by Olsen. Bodies are flying everywhere, not Mooring's though, as she goes up and in with the left hand, and Snow Canyon breaks their drought and puts 2 on the board. Crimson into their offense. Moving the ball around the perimeter. Snow Canyon doing pretty good rotating with this. Gines gets the ball in the corner, dumps it up to the elbow. Shot is up and in, a little off-balance push shot, and it appears like the Crimson player came down on somebody's foot. She's a little bit off. Long shot, but it ends up, her foot is on the line, so a 2-point jumper from Mooring.
Yeah, that the Warriors will get out and run just a little bit. Crimson's not very quick getting back after they put the ball up. We might be able to get some easy transition baskets here.
What I would love is I would love to see more of the Warriors sprinting right there, because Mooring has gotten to the near side of the court on the wing without anybody around her multiple times. The issue is when she's caught it, the rest of the offense is behind her. If we get somebody sprinting down the middle, either Mooring's going to have the wide open shot with a rebounder under the basket, or that defender's going to sprint out at Mooring, and she's going to be able to dump it down for a layup, a guaranteed 2 points right there. Snow Canyon's running a 5-out set. Good cut. Whitehead looks to put it up. Misses it, gets her own rebound. Another miss. Lealau fights for the rebound. Her shot is off. Hey, that's a little bit of the opposite of what we've talked about before. I like to see the Warriors getting offensive rebounds and second attempt opportunities. I didn't totally feel like any of those shots were very comfortable, though, for the Warriors.
Right.
I think they were like, in their minds, they're like, I'm close to the basket, I have to shoot, instead of actually recognizing what to do. Good attack by Whitehead. She does the little hesitation move. She does a crossover and explodes. Forces a block foul on Crimson, and it will not be a shooting foul, so the Warriors will enter the ball from underneath their own basket. Dunkley checks in for Whitehead. We're seeing more action from Annie Dunkley this game. She's hit a big three, and she's handled the ball well when she's been in there.
Right.
Lealau for three.
And I think that's just a product of missing a few kids because of COVID testing that happened this week. You'll notice that Makari's not around.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, their backup point guard who's usually come in, she's not able to attend the game tonight.
Ooh.
Rebounding, getting us in a little bit of trouble again down here.
That may be on Tyler, and it is. That's going to be her fourth. So the tables have turned in this half, whereas in the first half, Reagan was a player I coached in volleyball. Ryan got into early foul trouble and had to sit basically the entire second quarter until the very end. And now with Mooring with 4 fouls, 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, my general rule of thumb, and I think Coach Roden and I were pretty much aligned on this, is when a key player had 4 fouls, you generally didn't insert them until about 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, depending on the game scenario.
Right.
If the game's starting to get away, you got to put them in earlier and hope. Dunkley had an attack right there, had a lane. She chose not to take it, but she gets the loose ball. Good job by her to do that. And she goes to reset the offense. She is in trouble of a 5-second violation. Good screen by Livy Cundy to free her up. And then the skip pass over to Lealau. Lealau's going to attack. She gets into the middle of the paint. The shot is blocked, but they do call a foul on that. She does a good job of initiating contact. Like we talk about knowing when and where to attack, I felt like that was actually a good time. So much pressure had been applied on Ann Dunkley at the top that by the time she released it off of Cundy's screen, forced a rotation so that by the time Lealau got it, there was a lane available for her to attack.
Yeah, and like I was saying, we're getting to the basket quite well. It just seems like we're not quite sure how to finish, you know, when we get into that space right there.
One of the keys there is, you know, and at the end of the day, I typically think the concepts that you teach boys and girls basketball are the same. We want to create space. We want to attack openings. We want to take the best shot available. However, one of the differences is a lot of the boys that will play, if they can get a full head of steam into that volleyball line, they'll end up elevating over the top of their defenders, and we get shots at the rim. Girls, one of the differences that they need to emphasize is jump stopping at that volleyball line, because if they don't close out, then they've got a little jump shot, and if they do close out, there's a cut right behind them for a layup on that. So it's the same concept, but a little bit of a different approach to the attack. And then sometimes you get players like Madam Mooring who would just go up over the top of the defense and score.
Athleticism can trump some of that sometimes, you know, and we do that with the boys program. We teach get into the paint, and we want you getting off 2 feet. More balance, more options, more control.
And like you said, more options. So if what you thought was available ends up not being available, you're balanced and squared up to be able to do something differently. Leia Lau gets the loose ball, and she's going to move in transition. An over-the-top pass to Kundi.
Just
the right
little
idea.
late.
It was late, and if she leads her with a bounce pass, I think Kundi's taking 2 steps and shooting a layup right there instead of, even had she caught that, she was going to end up being faced the wrong direction, and the opportunity wouldn't have been there. The other thing, it was a 2-on-4. There was only 2 Snow Canyon players. It's the same thing we talked about. I think some of these other players were hesitating back, thinking I might have to stay back on defense instead of running down and playing offense. Crimson hits a long shot, which I believe was that did they count that as a 3?
They did count that as a 3.
Crimson takes the lead. I couldn't remember if they had 26 or 25. Ball screen from Olsen on Dunkley. Olsen attacks left-handed to the basket. Did not short arm that one, but the ball rolls around the rim and comes out. So she's inching her way closer to these finishes. So my prediction is she's gonna hit a few in the 4th quarter. Snow Canyon forces the lob.
Warriors are doing a good job defending and swarming around Ryan Gines right now in the paint, and making it difficult for the Mustangs to get the ball inside to her.
This is one of those little things. Ebony Leilau's in the perfect spot defensively right there. The lob's coming right to her, and she's so excited to get up and down the floor. She tries to grab it with one arm and dribble at the same time. It ends up bouncing off of her foot and out of bounds. There's little things right there. Whitehead's going to attack, and Gines is right there trying to draw a foul, and it's going to be a block.
Smart move by Talon. I don't know if she thought about it or not, but when you got their best player in foul trouble, make that basket or not, go be the aggressor right there and force the refs to make a call.
And I'm wondering if Gines knows that she had 2 fouls, but at this point, with a 1:45 left in the 3rd quarter, 2 fouls is not a problem anymore. But it looks like she changed her mind halfway through to go for drawing a charge. She's an athletic player who can probably, most of my players, I told them not to try to block shots because we usually just got fouls. But when you're an athletic post defending a smaller guard in transition, I almost think you just jump with them, and Ryan could have defended that shot. Whitehead misses both of her free throws, but they do force a jump ball on the rebound, and the Warriors will get that. Olsen screens for Leia Lau. Leia Lau back to Whitehead. Whitehead attacks, pulls up for about a 15-footer that's long, misses. Crimson Cliffs will take a timeout right now. Yeah, a lot of little things right now, and this is what the way that I phrased this with my players was make winning plays. A lot of the times when we think about games, we think about the play at the end of the game. Winning isn't a single play, right? There's 1,000 things that go into it. So it's little things like grabbing the ball with 2 hands when it's a loose ball to secure the possession, jump stopping instead of shuffling your feet. It's setting a solid screen. It's making the right defensive rotations. A lot of the winning plays that happen are the things that aren't recognized. It's what's happening away from the ball. And that's something I feel like Snow Canyon is improving at, but it still has lapses in right now.
Agree. Yeah, agree. And I think we're a little bit quick offensively right now. You know, we come into this second half with a 4-point lead. I think we can afford to be a little bit more patient. We can afford to probe a little bit more for the better shot, not just the first shot.
This is one thing, I played on a team in high school that by the time I went to high school in Minnesota. The playoff system was a little bit different. We had region tournaments, and only the tournament winner would go to the state tournament. And so entering our region tournament, we were in last place, and we were 4-19 on the season. We won 4 games to make it to our region tournament final. Not sure I agree with that call either. That was a good Euro step right there by Leia Lau. But what I was going to say is with the Warriors, they're 1-11 right now, and we can talk about all these technical things that need to be happen. I think the biggest thing is they need to believe that they can win, and then they need to be on the floor as if they can't believe that they can win.
Right.
So instead of looking to referees for calls, instead of complaining about missed shots, you put your head down and you go to work. And you just do it. You do these little things, and you get better. And if it doesn't work this play, I'll get better next play. Anyway, a charge foul was called on Leia Lau, and that resulted in a missed shot for Crimson. There's Natalie Olsen, and Call me prophetic because I said they were going to start falling for. I said in the fourth quarter, though. This is still the third.
Yeah, 1 minute left here in the third quarter. Warriors regain the lead.
Good rebound by Lealau. She's got a defender behind her that she's got to be careful. There's some patience that we've been looking for a little bit from her. She recognized she didn't have the numbers. And one thing for her is the way that Coach Roden's offense runs is a player like her, a shooter. There's two that go in for Olsen. A shooter like Lealau is going to benefit from long offensive possessions.
Yes.
She's going to get kickouts for threes.
Yep.
And her teammates know she can shoot.
Yeah.
So they look for her.
Right.
And so there's no necessarily any reason to force something that's not there because she's going to get shots in
And
the
there's
offense.
so much more balance on those kick-out threes. So much more rhythm. I mean, when you're warming up in a game, you know, usually somebody's rebounding for you and they're kicking the ball out to you. It's just a much more rhythm shot. Good anticipation there by Dunkley.
Dunkley. And her goal right there was to hold on long enough for it to be a jump ball. Ryan was showing some of that muscle right there, and
Yeah.
Annie was moving around with her. And that was good hustle by her and good anticipation. Ball's inbounded to the wing, back to the corner. It's deflected by the Warriors. Almost looked like a deflection off the Crimson player. I know
Close.
Ebony is calling for that, but I'm not sure if it actually happened or not.
16 seconds remain here in the third quarter.
It's been, again, a back and forth, and Snow Canyon actually went down a couple of times, but then they extended that. Okay, this is something that I was curious about, and Gines is called for out of bounds on the catch. If you look at the court right now, there is the sideline and then about an inch of wood grain coloring, and then there's the thicker baseline. That would throw me off as a player. Whitehead attacks, kicks it over to Dunkley. Dunkley with the three-point attempt misses. Lealau with a good rebound, and she's going to attack baseline, and she gets an attack baseline that goes up and in at the buzzer. So after a back and forth quarter where it looked like there were some lapses from Snow Canyon, they actually extend their lead by a point at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, it's just like you said. We're still attacking the basket, but they're late in that quarter. The layups were falling.
They were falling, and I've got a lot of coaching maxims. Oh, we're going to give a shout out to some more sponsors as well. We're going to get those up and going.
Yeah, we got Simply Wisdom Teeth. We've got the Southwest Skin and Cancer Center, Tonaquint Data Center, Bucks Ace Hardware, Snow Jensen and Reese, Levitt and Associates. Good one to be thinking of right now as tax season comes upon us. You've got the Macmillan Legal Group and Injury Attorneys, Brian Hickman team in real estate, and St. George Kids Dental. We appreciate all of these sponsors and for what they do to allow us to bring you these contests here on Warrior Nation TV.
Yeah, hey, while we're at it, we need some self-promotion going on right here. So any of you that are watching right now, please give a shout out to us on your social media accounts. Follow Warrior Nation TV on Instagram. Also, you can follow the SCHS admin account, as that typically posts when games are, and there's the link in their bio for the games.
Yeah, and our production manager just told us that we've hit over 100, what do you call them, observers or viewers tonight?
Yeah, for a Tuesday night. Here we go.
There you go, another
Olsen
layup.
drills another one, and you can see right there, instead of getting too far into the basket and having to short arm it, she extended and put the ball high off the backboard.
Angles are a little bit better, and they're still finding that space inside right now.
One of the things I was going to say is, I've got a million coaching maxims. It's one of the things that drives my students crazy is I've got all these cheesy quotes for them. But one of the things that I used to say a lot is greatness is consistency over time. And I know Coach Roden's version of that is focus on the process. Great dump pass. Cundy's fouled. Whitehead goes down, but she's up quickly. She looks like she banged her knee.
That she tried to get to 2 feet right there on a jump stop. Good things happen. She noticed the bounce pass when the team, came over to help on her drive. And so getting off those 2 feet is so critical when you're getting into the paint.
First free throw attempt for Cundy. Off. But I know Coach Roden talks about focusing on the process, and one of the things that we talk about is Coach Roden's offense is designed to do 3 things. It's designed to attack the basket first, either get layups, or the second thing it's designed to is to get fouled and get to the free throw line. And then the third option is to create kick-out three-point opportunities. And these girls were attacking, and they were missing their layups. And sometimes players tend to be too results-oriented. They're like, I missed it, that's a bad shot. That's not the case. It was a good shot that you happened to miss. We need to keep taking good shots so that we can make them.
Box out right there by
Laney
Levitt.
So this is a testament to that, is the Warriors are now starting to make shots that they were missing earlier in the game by remaining consistent. That may have been a travel on Natalie Olson that she got away with. Staley attacks, and she tries to go up left-handed, but it looked like she went back with her right hand and ended up missing it. In the loose ball, Natalie Olson gets it, corrals it, and attacks. And
it's Ryan.
they called that foul on Gines. That is her fourth. We've seen this back and forth between Gines and Mooring, where now I think Gines is coming out of the game. And we'll see how much longer Coach Roden goes without Tyler.
And how long do you think Crimson goes without their leading scorer?
Well, it's just, I was going to say this at halftime. So what's fascinating right now is, and not that it's not like we're better without Tyler on the floor, but Snow Canyon has put some things together since Tyler went out with her fourth foul.
Right.
And so if I'm Coach Roden, if I'm on his bench assisting him right now, I'm talking to him and I'm saying, let's go back with Tyler right now. If we're not going to have her, good steal by Levitt. Oh, she misses the layup. But if we're not going to have her anyway, I'd rather have time to get back into this rhythm without her than disrupt this rhythm late. And so one of the things I would talk about is that. And also I was going to say this, when Gines went out of the game, that maybe can sometimes, oddly enough, work against the Warriors in that they prepared all week to defend a certain team, and when she's not in the game, now you're defending a different team that you didn't practice for.
And I'm telling you, the way that we've been able to get to the basket right now, you take their best center defender out of that paint, I think the Warriors need to pull this thing out, spread it out a little bit, try to open those lanes even more to create those better angled, easier layups to extend their lead here. They need to be patient offensively and not shoot themselves out of this lead.
One of the things I was going to give Taylor Whitehead a shout out for, so she made that penetration. She dumped it to Cundy. Cundy got to the free throw line. Whitehead went down. She banged her knee pretty hard, and it took her a minute to get up, and she was limping as she was walking away. As a coach, you're always trying to make sure your players are okay. You don't want to leave them in if they're hurt. But she did not voluntarily look over to Coach Roden. She refused to do that. She did not want Coach Roden to take her out of the game. He eventually called for her, and as a well-coached athlete, she responded to her coach. Look at Staley right now in the corner. She's ready to shoot. Anyway, she did come out. She was out for just a bit, and now Whitehead's back into the game. Good. Oh, Levitt is showing a lot of defensive intensity and energy out there. She's deceptively long as well, because that was even – she deflected that ball with what I would call the wrong arm. She didn't even go inside hand. She went outside hand, which is a further reach, and she was still able to get a hand on it.
Careful. Here's their shooter right here.
Long three-point attempt. There's that air ball. Olsen does a good job of defending straight up. Tapasa gets the rebound. She is fouled. That puts Crimson at 16 fouls, and on the next one, Snow Canyon will shoot free throws. This is big-time experience for some of these younger players like Tapasa and Levitt in the game right now in a crucial moment in a varsity game. Olsen attacks, gets to the basket, up and in. She's finishing. She's having confidence, and you can tell just by body language for her on the floor that she's believing in herself right now. I actually had the chance to talk to her coming out of the tunnel to begin the second half, and I just said something that I would say to my players all the time. We play sports for two reasons, to have fun and learn life lessons, so don't forget to have fun out there. And she looked at me, smiled, she said, I am having fun. I was like, great, all right, go out there. And we can see that right now. There's a shift there, and that's contagious to teammates as well, right? When your leading player, the leading scorer, has got this positive energy out there, it improves the attitudes and energy of everybody on the court.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure there.
Snow Canyon's now with a double-digit lead right now. You mentioned maybe pulling it out right now. Is that what you expect the Warriors?
You know what, and I don't mean just pull it out and roll the clock out the whole way, but be patient. Don't settle. Like Staley's wide open in the corner, but it's the first pass in the offense. And even though you're open, you have a 10-point lead, maybe move that around and come back to that, later on.
If they would have advanced that to her,
right,
I actually would have been like, okay, go for it, pull the trigger. But since they got it to half court and all of Crimson's players returned, by the time Staley caught it, they closed out on her.
Right.
And so it was like, okay, let's slow that down. Olsen's attack, on the other hand, that's probably a version of this is, so one of the offenses that Coach Roden runs, it's called motion. That's the weave that you see. And we just called it slow motion. We wanted to run in slow motion, which is let's run motion as many times as we can, and the only time you're really allowed to shoot is if you have a clear path for a layup. And I think that's maybe what the Warriors look to do with 5.5 minutes left and an 11-point lead.
Yeah. I would expect to see Crimson put Giants back in the game pretty quick here.
Whitehead gets a long rebound, and she's got some speed. She beats the defense up and in. That was a controlled. She kept some speed in the tank right there. She didn't use it all. She just used enough to beat the defense.
Yeah. It's a great transition right there from Talon.
This is probably what my anticipation would be is this is going to cause Crimson to press a little bit more. And when I say press, that doesn't mean defensively. I mean like they're going to kind of force the issue offensively a little bit because they're down by 13.
Good job by Staley.
They're going to start to panic. Gines is at the scorer's table getting ready to check back in. And Mooring is in the game for the Warriors right now. So at the 5-minute mark, she returned. Olsen attacks right, splits the defense, fouled, and makes it.
So ever since your comment, is that like 5 in a row for her?
Hey, I didn't know that I had this power. So the winning Powerball numbers next week will be, I'm just kidding, we'd all split them. Olsen is going to go to the line to shoot one. We've got 4:44 left in the fourth quarter, a bunch of fours on the board. If she makes this, that's 44 points. Oh, that would have been serendipitous. All right, Crimson gets the rebound, and they are pushing the pace back onto offense. First good shot attempt they get, they're taken. Long three-point attempt is missed. They get the long rebound. It was a matter of time before a foul was called right there.
Tapasa did a good job of getting big, hands up. Unfortunately, she kind of stepped into that as she went up with those hands.
It's a game scenario thing. So we obviously want rebounds, and it's frustrating when you give up the offensive rebounds. But with a 15-point lead, you'd rather give up the 2 points and keep the clock running than let them score with the clock stopped.
Yep.
So it's hard to teach high school players that sometimes, where they're like, wait, you always teach me to rebound and contest shots. And it's like, I still want you to rebound and contest shots. But when it doesn't happen, I want you to know the situation and make an adjustment. I just said be a player, like know what to do as a player.
Right.
Crimson is switching to a man-to-man. Nice entry pass. Tapasa with a power dribble up. She clocked Gines in the head, and the refs let her get away with it on that one. That was a good entry pass and a good shot attempt. Ball's deflected away from Gines. New attack from Crimson. Off. Mooring with the rebound, and she's pushing the ball.
Good idea.
She's going to slow it down. Smart play by Mooring. We're at this point now, a 14-point lead. Coach Roden's going to call a timeout, and I'm positive talk to the team about this. A 14-point lead with 4 minutes to go. The other team's only scored 29 points. So the only way that they can win is if they pretty much score half as many points as they have in the entire game in the last 4 minutes. So what Snow Canyon's goal is going to be right here is scoring is nice. We would love to get points if they're 3 points. But we're not really playing for points anymore. We're playing for possessions.
Clock is more important.
If we can limit Crimson's possessions, then it won't matter what we're doing offensively because they just won't have enough possessions to score. And I know sometimes, parents, fans, students watch the game and they're like, why did you change the way you played when it was working? Well, it's like, well, here's the deal. They're going to change the way they play too. And if we play quick, we're playing into their hands and we're increasing the number of possessions that they have. Now, one thing we've talked about a lot is once a shot clock is introduced into Utah high school basketball, then your strategy has to be different. You have to have long offensive sets, but you have to have a shot at the end of it. Right now, that's not required.
Correct. In this second half, I've been very pleased and impressed with how the Warriors have defended in their zone. They swarm on Gines when she catches the ball, and they're forcing some of these other Crimson players to be the ones to shoulder that scoring load. Again, it's an open shot for Staley, a good shot maybe in the flow of the game, but right now, like you said, clock is on our side. We want to take a little bit more time off of that clock, maybe pass that one up.
Crimson is sitting in a 1-3-1, and they are trapping the corners, so they're trying to make sure that Snow Canyon cannot run clock. I know Coach Roden's body language from having coached with him for multiple years, and as soon as that shot went up, he turned around and started muttering, and I know that mutter was, "Didn't we just talk about this?" I'm positive that's what it was. Hey, and credit to Kenna Staley. She's one of my favorite players ever. She works hard. She's undersized, is never shy about going out there and doing the dirty work. And so she learned from it. On the next skip pass, she fakes the 3, attacks, gets fouled, and now we get to score.
That's right. And there you go. The free points you were talking about from the free throw line.
We'll take free points all day. We're not going to give you any free points, though. And that was the 4th foul on number 24 for Crimson, the other post player, I believe. Oh, no, it's a guard.
Kenna makes good on both her free throws. Got 3:15 remaining in the game here. The Warriors have a 16-point lead on the Mustangs.
I'm not trying to undermine. Obviously, the coach knows more about her team than I do, but Coach MacArthur just took one of their primary shooters out of the game with 3 to go. It looks like she'd been playing maybe in place of Ryan for long stretches, so maybe she just needed a break. But that's number 2, Whitley Stuckey. And I would imagine she's not going to be out for very long, as she's been in the game for
she had one of the better-looking three-point shots for Crimson tonight and made a couple of them.
Staley with the rebound. She finds Whitehead. Whitehead's going to slowly move the ball across half court as Snow Canyon is protecting a 16-point lead. In this 1-3-1 trap, the openings are the skip to the opposite corner.
Yes.
So right here, it'd be Whitehead down to Lealau. Lealau now to Whitehead. But they're just moving it fast enough that it's not going to hurt them. Moring gets the ball under the basket, but moves it back out to Whitehead. Whitehead to Lealau.
Great ball movement.
15-foot jumper. That's still, I'll never complain about that shot. That was more of a, I'd love to burn more clock, but if you shoot that and you make it, I'm happy with it. If you shoot it and you miss it, I'd be like,
possession right there, you had 6 or 7 great passes. The defense had to move. Taylor makes a great read, finds Ebony wide open on a penetration kick out. That's
feet
just
set,
a rhythm shot.
Steps in,
I would have loved to
down.
have seen them do that more often during this game.
Yep. So there's Staley diving on the floor for the loose ball, and Olsen with the 2-on-1. She splits, she moves around the defender and puts it in, and she had Lealau on the opposite side if it was missed. Snow Canyon now extends their lead to 20, and this is something that we see too in high school sports. We're going to see the results at the end of this game. It's going to be something near 20 points probably, but this was not a 20-point blowout, and that's something that when I was coaching, that would happen. We had a couple of years where we were a little bit overmatched, but we would try to scheme correctly or strategize or whatever, and the game would be like an 8-point game or difference late in the game, and it's like, okay, well, we have to press and we have to start fouling, and that's our only chance to win, and the other team just breaks the press or makes their free throws, and what was an 8-point difference is now a 17-point difference, and then you just call the press off and run the clock out. But it's like people are going to look at this score and think that we got blown out, but we were in it, and we only had one opportunity to try to win, and just that opportunity is a high risk, high reward, and we didn't get the reward.
Yeah, and Crimson played a great game tonight, and you can tell that they're young, and they've got players that are, learning how to run the system that the coach is putting in place. Giants got in some early foul trouble that maybe took her out of her rhythm, and hasn't really been able to get that rhythm back. Like I said, I think Coach Roden's game plan on her in the second half has worked really well.
This is something that you love to see. The Warriors have not had the opportunity to do this in a region game yet this year, or even any game, because even the Kanab win was a close game. Coach Roden subs out his starters, and he has inserted Annie Dunkley, Lainey Levitt. That is Sophie Jaster, as Dunkley got a little bit too excited, and Jaster was trying to cut to Dunkley, and Dunkley wanted her to keep the space. But also, if we look at that on film, Annie had Lainey Levitt about 2 feet in front of her with nobody around her. She could have just handed the ball to her. But we've also got Jocelyn Olsen, and getting ready to sub in on the bench, and the next dead ball is Heidi Schroth. This is one of those moments that if I had a sub waiting to come in with under a minute, I just tell my team to foul.
Right. I think that right there might be the first offensive rebound we've seen here in the fourth quarter from the Crimson Mustangs. Warriors have done a good job keeping them to, one shot attempt. each time down the floor this quarter.
Roden calls a timeout just as a 5-second violation was about to happen with Dunkley. You can tell Dunkley's still a little bit of a younger, less experienced ball handler because she's not totally comfortable dribbling the ball with high amounts of pressure.
Right.
And that's one of the differences between some of the lower levels like freshman, sophomore, JV, and then once you get to the varsity level, it's just an expectation that you dribble with pressure without having to look at the ball or look at your defender. You just know that they're always there, and then you can see your teammates to make those passes.
Yeah.
She's doing a good job of running the clock out, which is what she's told. She's not turning it over, and even, I mean, Crimson's not going to score 18 points right now, so even a 5-second count is like not a big deal for the Warriors.
A 5-second count would be what's called a good turnover.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't lead to a transition
Yeah,
basket.
you gotta
it's
go
an
set your
inbound and your
defense.
defense can get set.
Yep. Not sure I like inbounding the ball right at the corner in front of the half-court line. That half-court line ends up acting as another defender. These girls want to score. There's Jaster. Ooh. And Schroth with the rebound. She puts it up. Levitt and Gines are going to wrestle with it for a jump ball, and that's going to go to Crimson. And Levitt, for all of her length, was mirroring Dunkley's moves right there. It's like, I hope I hold on to this ball long enough for it to be a jump ball because Ryan's going to toss me around.
Right.
Crimson looks to enter the ball. Gines gets a shot up, misses. Dunkley with the rebound, and Snow Canyon doesn't even have to advance it. And Snow Canyon is going to end the night with their first region win. That's going to be something for them to build on as they get ready to go through round 2 of region. They will see Cedar at Cedar, I believe, their next game.
Thursday night.
And they're going to be out there. We will not be bringing that game to you, so...
Yeah, Cedar has their own live stream, and they want to be able to live stream their games. And so I know for the boys' game, they didn't let us get in that gym. So look at Cedar's website, and you'll be able to find a live stream there.
I don't want to promote them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they do a great job. Hey, final thoughts. What's your takeaway tonight, Kundi?
I like that we won the last game in region. I like what we did offensively tonight. Let's hope that Coach Roden can maybe build on some of that momentum right there and go compete against some of these better teams in our region.
And my takeaway was that I love that the girls stuck with what Coach Roden was asking them to do. There were lapses sometimes, which there always are. There's never been a perfect game that's ever been played. But they kept attacking, and the shots that weren't falling early were falling late. And that's just a testament to sticking with the process, focus on the process.
Yep.
So